Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the absolute biggest and, honestly, most mind-boggling financial mysteries on the internet. We're talking about a literal digital graveyard of unprecedented proportions, a place where unimaginable wealth exists, but it's completely out of reach. Today, we're tracking Bitcoin's lost millions. I mean, just think about that for a second. What if millions of Bitcoin exist out there on the network right now, just sitting in wallets, completely intact, but literally nobody can ever spend them again? It's like, imagine giant vaults stuffed to the ceiling with gold, but the doors are welded completely shut, and the blueprints totally wiped from human history. That is the massive, high-stakes reality of inaccessible crypto wealth that we're going to untangle today. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the missing millions, the scale of inaccessible wealth. To really wrap our heads around this mystery, we got to look at the numbers, and they are staggering. 3.7 million. According to estimates, that is the number of Bitcoin effectively just lost in the digital space. And depending on how the market swings on any given day, we are talking about tens, maybe even hundreds of billions of dollars in value, completely trapped in a dark digital void. Crazy, right? Moving right along to Section 2, the ultimate Bitcoin limit, a fixed supply. Now, you might be thinking, well, hey, money can always be printed, right? But Bitcoin, it actually has a hard, mathematically enforced cap, 21 million. That is the absolute finality of its maximum supply. Once those are mined, that's it. No more can ever be created, period. And that hard limit is exactly why those lost coins matter so much. When you actually compare that estimated 3.7 million lost coins against the remaining 17.3 million of the total supply, you realize pretty quickly this isn't just some small rounding error. A massive, permanent chunk of the entire pie has effectively been burned from circulation forever. Which brings us to Section 3, how Bitcoin gets lost, the mechanics of loss. So how on earth does a highly advanced digital asset just disappear? Well, it usually comes down to painfully simple human errors. We're talking lost private keys, forgotten passwords, and honestly, the most tragic of all, discarded hardware. There's this really deep irony here, you know? Early miners losing an absolute fortune simply because an old hard drive got tossed into a landfill during some random spring cleaning. It's essentially the tiny missteps of everyday life colliding head-on with unforgiving cryptography. At the end of the day, it all boils down to one harsh, unyielding reality: lost keys equals lost Bitcoin. Seriously, there's no customer service hotline you can call. There's no handy forgot my password link to click. If you lose those keys and you don't have a backup, that wealth is permanently sealed away by pure mathematics. Let's jump to Section 4, the dormant wallet mystery, the unknowable truth. Now, before we go ahead and declare all those coins dead and buried, we've got to consider the fundamental ambiguity of blockchain data. Think about it. On one hand, you have a lost wallet. The hardware is crushed, the keys are gone forever. But on the other hand, you could have a dormant wallet. Maybe it's been completely inactive for a decade, but the owner is just quietly holding onto those keys. Looking purely at the network, these two states look exactly identical. We literally cannot definitively tell them apart. And that brings us to this pretty shocking truth. Dormant doesn't always mean lost, because a sleeping wallet could just belong to someone exhibiting some serious iron-willed patience. Nobody can ever actually know the exact amount of truly lost Bitcoin. I mean, some of those 3.7 million coins might just be taking a very long nap, just waiting for the perfect moment to suddenly wake up and move across the network. So that leaves us with one final dramatic question to ponder. How much Bitcoin is really lost forever? Well, the answer is nobody knows. It's a permanent, totally unknowable digital mystery baked right into the very fabric of the internet's most famous cryptocurrency. It's this fascinating paradox, right? Total public visibility mixed with absolute cryptographic secrecy. Think about that the next time you hear someone talking about the total supply of Bitcoin. Anyway, I hope this explainer shed some light on the incredible scale and mechanics of this digital graveyard for you. Until next time, keep questioning what's really hiding in the data.